Good afternoon, guys. Sean, Local Energy. So this is why we're gonna talk about something. This is why you need one of these guys in your system. So basically, this is a hydraulic separator, right? What this does is allows boiler supply to run through, right? And then come back down. This is the return. Return runs down, just like this, runs up through the pump, and then runs back into the boiler. There's a big magnet in here, and if we unscrew this, and then we isolate this valve, and these, we can then drain, pull this out. It allows any of the suspended solids that have run back through here, because obviously as water runs out and then comes back, any suspended solids when this boiler is at rest that are in here are gonna fall down and come into this. We then blow this down and we end up emptying any of the metal contaminants that then can put themselves into the heat exchanger, which is located behind this door. And what ends up happening is if those contaminants over time get into the heat exchanger, especially on these Navians where it is a primary secondary, what you'll end up having happen is you can clog the heat exchanger prematurely. These pumps are also magnetic, so any of the metal that would be in here can also get stuck to your pump, so it saves those. And ideally, it keeps the system running to its optimum efficiency. Now, usually some of these boiler manufacturers will have a manifold kit that comes down. There's a pump that comes off the return, which is what this guy is. And those manifold kits with nothing of additional succession for the boiler other than allowing it to work don't include what this does. This to install is roughly right around about the same money as the manifold. So tell me why, if the cost is almost the same, the labor is almost the same, tell me why you wouldn't put one of these in instead. Another thing that we also do here for you is it's very important to get the air out of the system. These are called isolation valves. This will allow us to basically run water through the system in a circuit from supply, which is red, to return, which is blue. And then we can flush your heat exchanger with a vinegar or a non-caustic solution. So that's very important as well. We also will step back and we'll tell you one other thing that we have started to offer for our clients. It is an addition to our normally installed, our normally quoted and installed stuff. This is called an ActiFlow Light. What this does is it takes that chunky stuff that you see in the bottom of every water heater, and this coats it with a different type of material. And instead of making it like, it almost feels a lot like rust when you run it through your fingers, but it's really hard and very difficult to break. This coats that and then allows it to go through the system and stay slippery. It'd be no different than, taking and putting soap on your hands to wash them, right? Tradesman, you see my hands very dirty. That adds lubricity and then will allow it to be nice and decent. Ladies, it's like putting the Garnier Fructis in your hair and going in the shower. So that's a big one. And then also for us here at Local Energy, this is the incoming boiler feed water, right? So what ends up happening is incoming feed water comes down through here, goes through this calcium device, and then runs through this filter. This filter has got a 50 micron steel mesh, and what that does is allows the water to pass through this, and then any junk that gets in here, I can blow down before it makes it throughout the rest of the system. As we all know, especially with wells, it becomes very, 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 you get a lot of crap. You can get sand, sediment, you can get all kinds of stuff. The other things that we do here that are a little bit different than our competitors, we're able to flush both sides of the heating, right? To make it easy to purge, to save you time and service, as well as we can back flush. This is the cold. We can back flush this, so that way this water heater is consistently contaminant free. There's also a large bung underneath the top of this cover that I can unscrew, and I can actually take a hose and I can hose off the coil. What that means for you is prolonged life. This particular water heater has a 20-year limited lifetime warranty. Would you rather it last 20 years or 12 to 15? You get 5 extra years out of it. These are expensive. This thing's more than $4,000 installed. As you can see, there's a lot of work that goes into it here. So you take a look at our install, you know, there's a lot going on here, right? You got the condensate in the corner, the gas, the black piping that says propane gas. You have the exhaust running outside, and then that white PVC is the intake. This is very important on every boiler you put in to make sure that that gets run outside. If that doesn't get run outside and there is a change, there's a vacuum present on the inside of the house, this guy is not gonna run right at all. It's gonna run very, very horrendously. So if you follow, you know, sorry, it's still kind of a little bit of we're still cleaning up here, but if you look at this. This install is nuts, right? So here's your supply and return, and then you step back. This was all hanging from the ceiling. There's old photos. Look how beautiful that is. So one other thing we do for you is we're able to basically isolate each zone. There's a purge here because this fan coil doesn't like air. So we're able to purge this, and then we put in these purge tees, which make it a lot easier for you as a homeowner. It's a lot less service. These are very, very important. And then we're able to isolate every pump. We add the ability to you to have an extra zone. And then as you can see, this job was a little tough. Some of this piping is a little crooked because of how it came out, but this was all completely redone by us at Local Energy. Very clean, looks very nice. This water line here, we didn't do, but it is what it is. This looks absolutely beautiful. We try to do our best with our installs to try to make it so that you guys don't have to spend exponential money in service. That is not our goal. Our goal is to have a lifetime working system that you're happy with. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you taking 6.5 minutes of your time. And Sean signing off. Have a good one.